Not all the old Maharajas were so conscious of their responsibilities and sensitive to public opinion within their states. There were some who subscribed to the stereotyped image of a Maharaja, gorgeously opulent and indulgent of their fancies, even in the last death throes of princely India. The Art Deco Palace, built between 1931 and 1944 in Morvi, is perhaps an example of such an attitude. The 6 drawing rooms, 6 dining rooms, 14 bedrooms, a swimming pool, card room, billiard room, and 2 bars of the Art Deco Palace lie empty for much of the year. Princess Uma Morvi and her sisters are unusual among the young generation of princely families in being able to luxuriously maintain the family palace. Most young members of the former princely families have had to struggle to deal with the demands of an increasingly plutocratic society. Skills such as education and business acumen have had to be acquired, as landed property, which had previously provided complete economic and social security, has disappeared under stringent government land reform.
Could you tell us when was the palace built and completed?
We started off in 34 and then I think about 5 or 7 years, and then there was a war in between. So shipments got delayed and furniture got delayed, and we had to sort of get hold of people in Bombay to come and make do with sort of bits and pieces of furniture. Some of it got stuck in ships from England because there was a war going on in Europe at that time, and then I think it was about 43 when it was completed.
Why did your father choose an Art Deco style?
Well, he was sick of Victorian England, and he just, as I said, he had a fascination with Hollywood and America, and everything that sort of, everything was shiny and shimmery and functional. And this house is quite functional. It does work. The flushes work, and things tend to work, as opposed to the other house where he lived before, and nothing really worked.
What was your family's reaction, the older members of the family?
Well, he was horrified because he said, it's absolutely ridiculous to build this monster. It's a pink elephant. And
who said this?
It's my grandfather, who was very conservative, and he thought it was completely unnecessary when we had 2 enormous houses anyway, to build something like this in the middle of a desert, Well, this is one of the sort of bars, and I think it was very... it reminds one of maybe the boats that he crossed from England to to America, and it reminds us of a sort of ship type thing, And he wanted it as a fun house and not something very serious. And I think the bars rather marvelous for the sort of paintings of naked ladies and things. This is my father's wing. It's been locked since he died, and it was always something very spooky about it. Then my mother decided to open it up, and then she's moved on because she finds it problematic for the servants to move up and down with the food and things like that. So we've finally sort of, as not buried the ghost, but it's much more livable. Before it was very scary, and when we were kids, we never used to walk down this passage because it was always locked and sort of gloomy and eerie. And now that one really, it's a very sort of actually bright, sunny room to live in. And I'll show you. So this is the bathroom, which it was made, I think it was bought from Italy and marble and things like that. And it represents, I think, they were very obsessed with lilies and shells, and it's very Hollywood again, it's sort of something out of a Hollywood set. The plumbing was very new, as I said, in this part of the world, and it's quite astonishing that it actually does work. It still works when you need and then I have to shut up all the taps from the other house to get this bathtub filled, but it does work, even today.
What does being a princess mean to you?
Well, it does help getting to nightclubs, and then gets you a room, and gets you a table, and apart from that, I think in Europe they have this great fascination with titles, which in India, they want to forget about us for the moment. Maybe we should be brought out and dusted a few, years later. But it's too painful for the moment because it's something they don't want to be reminded of,
Why?
Well, it's a whole way of life, and it's a whole it's something that maybe they intrinsically want to forget. I mean, the privileged people here, and they want the privileged ones. I mean.
But don't you think the industrialists are as or even
Not
more
really,
privileged?
No.
What would you say is the difference between?
I mean, the simple fact is that industrialists cannot get a table at Annabelle's, and I can.